Hello, welcome to another video from me, Mr. Morrison. Today's project is a remote control for the microbit. So here I have this microbit controlling this one over radio signals. So if I press A, it starts a light flashing. If I press B, it sounds an alarm. And if I press A plus B, switches off. But we could use different combinations of inputs on this microbit to control different combinations of outputs on this microbit. You could do things like connect LEDs to the pins on the bottom. You could sound the lights and the alarm at the same time. You could have a different animation happening, but I'm going to show you how we set this up. So let's get coding. So for our remote control, we're going to need two projects. So we're going to need a transmitter, that's the one that you're actually sending signals using the buttons, and then a receiver is the one that things are happening on. So let's start with the transmitter. For our transmitter, we are going to need to use our on, start, and forever blocks. So I'm going to keep them in. So I'll put that there and that there. And we're also going to need the input on button A pressed. So we'll get to that in a second. If we're doing radio, if you've done radio ones before, you'll know that you need to set your radio group. So if you are working on this project with more than one other group of people using microbits, each group of microbits needs a different number. It could be that you're using different remote controls with different sets of microbits, but each set of microbits needs a different number. There's 255 numbers, so just make sure you're using a different number to the sets of microbits beside you. Then you're going to go into variables and you're going to make a variable. And we're going to make this variable signal. Because this is going to be, signal is going to be the number that we are sending to the microbits. So, set signal to begin with, we're going to set the signal to 0. Then we're wanting different other things to happen when we change. So we're going to have forever, we're going to have that send a number. So radio send number, and we're going to make that number be our signal. So variables and signal. So now forever, this microbit is going to send whatever number the variable signal is. So at the moment, it's just sending 0, but we're going to have different things it sends for the different buttons we press. So on button A pressed, I'm going to duplicate my set signal, and I'm going to change this to 1. So on button A pressed, we're going to send signal 1. I'm then going to duplicate this whole thing. Do that again to show you. Right click, duplicate this whole thing, change it to button B, and then I'm going to press number 2. Finally, I'm going to duplicate this one more time and have an on button A plus B, and I'm going to make that 0. So that means our 0 is going to be off, and we're going to send a signal of 0 being off, 1 and 2 being on. You could send more signals using other inputs, but for this project, this is what we're going to use. So download this project onto one microbit, and then come back and we'll do the next one. So I'm going to create a new project, and this project is radio. This project is remote control, and this is the receiver. So my receiver this time has a little bit more to it. So we're first going to have our on start, and we're going to have our radio set group. Make sure you set the same group as you did for the transmitter. Then I'm going to go into radio and I'm going to do radio received number. So this is going to do something when it receives the number. I am going to get a variable and make another variable called signal. And this time we're going to set that number signal to be received number. So drag the received number from above. And that just means it's going to be the number that was called signal in the transmitter code. And we're just making sure that that's now known as signal on this microbit as well. We're then going to do some things in our forever. So in our forever over here, I would like an if true else. So logic statement here, and I'm going to use the plus because I'm going to have three options because we've got our option 1, our option 2, and our option 0. So if we have our logic and we have a comparison, we're going to have if signal, which is in variables, and signal. If signal is equal to 1, then we're going to do something. In my example, I'm going to make it just show all of the LEDs on the screen. And I'm going to make that flash. The quickest way to make that flash is go into basic and go into clear screen and then basic and pause and make that maybe 500 milliseconds. That means it's going to do a loop of flashing that until it gets another instruction. I'm then going to copy, duplicate, the signal is equal to, and put it down here and change that to say 2. For 2, in my example, I'm going to put in a little alarm. And that is using my music and play tone. I'm going to put in a play tone and I'm going to make this do a little like alarm sound. So we're going to have 2 notes. I'm going to have E and I'm going to duplicate it again and I'm going to have C. So now it is going to play a dee 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 little sound in there like that. Finally, in our last one, for any other signal being 0, we want it to clear screen, so we want it to switch off. Now, that's all you need in here. You could have an additional set of things in here to control your lights without the radio controller. So if I put in my on button A pressed and then I put in set signal 2, I can then have match this with my transmitter that we have on button A pressed was signal to 1, B was signal to 2, and then on A plus B is signal 0. But these 3 blocks here are not necessary for the function of this project, but it means you have that option that you could test the things on this microbit without having your radio microbit work. So download this onto your other microbit, see if it works, and I hope to see you in another video very soon.